Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, 320 Sim Pilot. I'm a real-world airline pilot and today I'm going to show you the iFly 737 MAX 8 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is a highly anticipated, highly detailed aircraft for the sim. This is a preview build they've kindly sent over, so thank you to iFly for that. And today we're going to take it for a flight around San Jose and give you an idea of what you can expect from this upcoming add-on. Like I say, this is a highly detailed, and I'm already going to tell you now, this is something you can be excited for. It's my absolute pleasure to show you this in the simulator today, and I hope you enjoy the video. We're going to take it for a flight from San Jose. Now this is the 737 MAX 8. The 737 MAX project is of course the fourth generation of the Boeing 737 designed to compete with the A320 NEO. It came about after Boeing were pressured or perhaps persuaded by airlines to give them a more efficient 737, and here it is. The 737 MAX 8 is the first variant of the 737 MAX series. First flew in 2016, uses CFM LEAP engines, very much like the A320 NEO. And it came about after, A320 NEO was announced, and then the 737 MAX came shortly after, with airlines wanting a re-engined 737. It uses lots of similar parts to the 737, although takes from more modern aircraft like the 787 for some things like the engine cowlings there's some redesigns to the tail and so on to make it more efficient, getting almost 14 to 15% efficiency increase over the 737 NG. It is a popular aeroplane, although there are some delays in certification of the other variants, such as the MAX 7 and the MAX 10, due to the way the engine instrumentation works, the fault systems work as well, which I'll talk about later in the video. But this is just focusing on the MAX 8. Like I say, this is a very popular, it's in service, there are lots of them flying already, and there will continue to be lots of them. This is a popular aeroplane. This is going to be around for a while. It is an efficient, it is a fast, and it is a known quantity. A lot of airplanes have 737s, and lots of pilots already fly them and can now fly this one as well. This is, as you can see, an absolutely stunning add-on in the simulator, and you'll see more of that as we go through the video today. This is not a full review, it is a preview version, it's a work in progress. Things will change as this aircraft comes to release. So like I say, this is just my thoughts on this initial preview that I can show you here. We're going to take it for a little flight around San Jose, including a full startup, full cold and dark setup, and the full flight, so do enjoy that. Okay everyone, here we go. It's time to look at the exterior model of the iFly 737 MAX 8, and I can tell you now, you're going to enjoy this. It is one of the most complete visual models I've seen, and this is going to be a theme for today's video. I think you're going to enjoy this airplane a lot. As we look around the exterior, there is just no bad angles. Not only have they captured the silhouette in all its glory, so it definitely from every angle looks just like the MAX 8 that we would expect to see, they've also managed to just capture so many little details about a modern airliner that just really bring this to life in the simulator. And as you move all the way around it, I have yet to find myself disappointed with any part of it. It's absolutely gorgeous from every angle, as I say. You'll also notice I've got the cabin blinds set to auto, so because the sun's shining in this side, these cabin blinds have been lowered a bit more on this side. It's just absolutely amazing, the level they've gone to. And you can whiz the camera around. We're really zoomed in here, so this is a good way to pick up anything we don't like about a model, and it just delivers over and over and over again. Especially the nose area, they've really captured it. As you move the camera around, you can see the ripples in the skin, you can see the rivets, and as you move over the flight deck, you can see the different textures around those window panes. We've got slightly different metals between the two here. I mean, it's just stunning. You've got the little vortex generators over the nose there, the modeling, little screws, everything looks absolutely amazing. And it surprises me how close you can get to this and it still looks so good. And that's true all the way around the airplane. Even as you come up to these handles, different texturing around the handle area. You've got the little rain runoff guides actually modeled in 3D. You've got the hinges on the doors. It's ridiculous almost how nice this airplane looks. I am so impressed. And as we look around the tyre, look at it, absolutely stunning. So there's a lot to like, and I have no qualms about the visual model at all. And look at this. If we look at the nose gear bay, you can even see sort of the rust-proof coating on the metals inside the airplane, in the inside of the fuselage. I mean, how good is that? This is, make no mistake, this is a high detail simulation, and I think one of the best airliners I've seen as a visual model in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's just, like I say, stunning all around. You've got the cutout panels, got the blanked out windows, rivets all along. As we move underneath the fuselage, you can see drain masts. This would be my only personal preference, and I know this is a preference. I like my airplanes in Microsoft Flight Simulator to be a bit more grimy, especially a 737. Work in a lot of sectors every day, lots of landings and takeoffs, lots of oil, hydraulic, hopefully not hydraulic fluid, but lots of oil and grease from the moving parts get splattered over the airplane, and dirt and grime. And I'm sure, even though it's a relatively new airplane, lots of them do. This is a very clean one. You could say this is straight out the hangar, and they do sometimes look like this for a day or two. So it's very clean, but still, that's not a complaint. That's just that's what I like to see. But stunning. I mean, look at the detail in this lighting section, the landing light. Amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm so impressed. Very clean, but still an incredible visual model. This is the LEAP engine, which I'm quite familiar with, having flown many hours on it. Slightly shorter fan blade area compared to the A320 version that I flew, but it's a amazing engine, and delivering the fuel burns that Boeing had hoped, certainly in this airplane, I believe up to 15%. So yeah, very similar actually all around on the outside, just this flat bottom on the cowling to try and accommodate the big engine. And yeah, it's raised very far forward on the wing and very high up, which led to the MCAS system, which you'll have heard about in the news, which sadly caused two tragic accidents. But yeah, you can see how far forward and high up it has to be. The fan is all the way out here. It's almost a whole wing length ahead of the wing. It looks like it's quite something. They've also made the nose gear slightly taller to accommodate that and to allow the same ground clearance on these engines as they have on the 737 NG. But you know, you can still see it's not much. Ground clearance is deceptive, by the way. It might look like all these engines are close to hitting the ground, but remember, with the landing gear extended, as in when the airplane's in the air, the wheels hang down a bit lower, so there's a bit more ground clearance. And by the time they're compressed, it'd be really hard to scrape the engine. You'll often find on these airplanes, I don't know what's true on the 737 MAX 8, but aircraft like this that look like the engines are really low, you'll actually find that you'll strike the wingtip before you'll strike the engine, because the gear is sort of protecting it. That's why it's so close in, or one of the reasons or effects of it being so close in. Moving around the wing now, we've got this split wingtip. They've had several variations of the wingtip. Sorry about this truck that's decided to park right in the way for my video, but there we go. Yeah, several variations, but that's what they've ended up with the MAX, and it seems like a quite efficient design. And then moving down, yeah, it's all here, it's all modelled, it's all decaled. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Look at this, even in the famous 737 wheel well bay, full of pipes and cables. Super. Super, absolutely love it. This is the APU door. You'll see shortly that does work. A little tail skid at the back here. And then this redesigned tail cone. They put quite a lot of effort into this, Boeing, to increase the efficiency of the airplane. So the tail cone's been redesigned. And look at that. I like the rippling of the skin in the fin. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, in fact, all the way along, you can see it. Gorgeous. Love it. Right. Look at this staining as well around the engine exhaust and cowling, which you get from the high temperatures and all other bits coming out the back of the engine. So good. So good. So impressed. Funnily enough, these chevrons here, I now fly the Boeing 787, and these chevrons here are something that Boeing came up with for that. They reduce the noise and increase the efficiency of the engine. Don't ask me how, but they do. So yeah, there's a few features off the 787 that have been taken into the MAX 8, and we'll see that shortly in the flight deck. On the flight deck now, and what's really fun is I am genuinely excited to show you around this airplane. It's so spot on. And there's two reasons for this. Firstly, all of the proportions are fantastic, and then they've gone to the extra level with the detail. So look at the texturing around the window frame, and then the extra pipes. I don't actually know what a lot of these do. The 787 has much of this stuff hidden away, but it's stunning. It's just, you can't find a bad angle, just like the exterior. It all looks great. But then there's a second part, which is they've managed to get a lot of the working bits. Oh, look at that! Even the seat slides. A lot of the working bits are just easy to use. And I'm talking about click spots and switch guards and all of this sort of thing. And you'll see that as we go through today's video. And that's even more important than it looking good, is that it's fun to use in the simulator. And they've really managed to come up with a good way of doing that. And I'll show you what I mean. First of all, we can use the inbuilt checklist. At the moment, it does not let me show the item by clicking on the little eye. I hope they add that later. This is a preview build, I must stress that. So it is not the release version. So yeah, I hope that comes later. But already to have the built-in checklist is a big tick in my book. I love it when they also bring in the little check marks. So we can go through and see the usual 737 startup. So let's get it powered on, and then we can talk about some of the systems and customization options and some of the similarities to the 787. Mostly these big screens down here. So first of all, battery switch guard closed. So for this one, you can just click, it closes the switch and closes the guard for you. And what I love about that is, did you see that little animation? It doesn't just do it. You can choose to do the guard on its own, or you click on the switch and then it closes it for you. I just love it. That sort of thing is just so good in the simulator. Standby power switch, which is down here, is guard closed. Alternate master switch, guard closed. And we can go through, there's a huge amount of checks you do on a 737. 787, it all does it itself, but this airplane is not like that. So we won't get too excited because I don't want to spend too much time just staring at the overhead panel for you. But the electric hydraulic pump switches are in the off position. The landing gear lever is indeed down. And we're just doing the basic safety checks before we get the airplane powered up. And then you're going to check that you have the 3 greens. Then you go through the fire switches, check that they're all in, do the master test for those before you start anything up. And then we can go up ahead and start the APU. So APU switch to start. So if you remember on the outside of the airplane, let me just take you to the drone. Down the back here, we had our little APU door. So now it's here, I believe. This is a different thing to how they used to have it. And they put it to start. And there it goes. And it's even animated. It doesn't just pop open. APU door open. I'm hoping you can hear some sounds. So let's just give you a bit of noise. Hear the engines, the APU starting up. This is just to give you an idea. The sounds, by the way, also all fantastic. All throughout the airplane, the sounds are good. Now, you can hear another sound there. That is the IRS complaining, I believe. It is a sign of a power failure on the airplane and that batteries are being drained. The reason you get that alarm is because it's a bad sign. The airplane does not, you don't want flat batteries on an airplane ever. So APU is available because we're gen off bus, so let's give it some power. And that little siren goes away. So hopefully you can see as we just go through this, it's just fantastic. All the switches move in a great way. They sound great. Look at the texture on this overhead panel. It all just feels, the flight deck, by the way, feels a nice level of used. Yeah, it's got a nice little bit of wear. But again, this is a fresh aeroplane, I would say. This is not a very old one by any means, which is it's a perfectly reasonable way to represent a Max 8, certainly. Right, APU, we've done the APU generator, source off lights, transfer bus off lights, APU door lights. All of these are done. Done a warning bells, test switch release. Okay, so these are all the fire bells which you can run. And again, not something I'm used to doing on the 7.8. You don't need to do any fire bell tests. Absolutely amazing. Pre-flight procedure. We're going to start getting the IRS is ready to go. So we come to the overhead panel. Off. Then nav. So then go to align on DC lights, align lights, ELT switch guard closed. Now, there's a lot of these switches that I'm going to struggle with because there are more switches on this than we have on the 7.8. Things like ELT switches, they just don't have. The airplane just has it all automatically built in. But yeah, we're going to take it that these things are all in the right place already and we haven't got any unusual warning signs. EEC switches and so on are all in a good place. Got the flight control in the normal position. I can see that looks good. Passenger oxygen, yeah, that's all fine. And you can do, of course, your tests. So you can hear the stick shakers hopefully there, and the overspeeds. There you go. So it all works as you would expect. Now, of course, here's the full procedure to come next. 137 items to get the airplane ready to go. I'm going to just close that now so we can get you all into the air. So yeah, there are a lot of checks, like I say, to do. So let's have a look at the configuration while the airplane just aligns the IRSs. If you turn on your EFB, this EFB looks almost identical to the one in the 787. I really enjoy it. So what we've got in here is you can initialize the flight, and then you can run your performance. You can have airport map, but what we can do in here is run our performance. We can set up the load and weight of the airplane, and we can also, quite fun, is go into the systems page, sim menu, and in here we can load panel states, we can choose the panel style, you can change what's on the MFD, how it wants it. I mean, an absolutely ridiculous level of detail in here. Let me show you. You can go to the GPWS and choose exactly what it's going to call out. So we've seen this before in some airplanes, but if we keep digging around, you'll see we've got a RAS system if we want to have RAS enabled, which would shout out as you taxi close to the runway and so on. The CDU, which is our little FMS box down here, you can choose the way you want it, such as gross weight entry inhibited. This is a safety option actually. This stops you accidentally entering the zero fuel weight as the gross weight and therefore having completely wrong numbers. Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. We can choose how the autopilot behaves, its bank limit, you know, it just goes on and on. And a quite fun thing is you can go to other systems and you can have high altitude landing kit, you can have the ice detection probe. I've enabled the HUD, which is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love having the HUD, and here it is. This shows you how serious they are with this add-on. There's just nothing missing. And look at this. Even the brightness control for the HUD works. It gets dimmer and brighter. Oh, brilliant. I'm going to keep that the way for now, but it is there should we need it. Yeah, fast alignment. And then there's another page even. So let's go forwards if I can do that. Page down. There we go. Look at that. Beacon flash rate. And there's way more to show you. I couldn't possibly do it all today, right now, but yeah, look at this. The radio time is a round dial. I do like the round dial, but anyway, we'll leave that off for now. So if I go back to menu and we'll go to performance, and I'm just going to leave it there, except we can go to weight and balance. Let's load up the airplane. So let's have 150 passengers, please, and you just type it in, 150, and then I'm going to hit enter up here. There it is. And I'm going to say set. Done. Good. And we will also do fuel. And how much fuel do I want? Let's have a total fuel. We can take up to 20 tons. Let's have a total fuel of 10 tons. It's a bit high perhaps. Let's do 8 tons. We're only going to fly a circuit basically. And then I'm going to say enter. No. Set max flight estimated fuel. There we go. So you set the fuel, set the payload. Done. Good. So now the airplane is loaded up with 150 passengers and it should have 8 tons of fuel, which it does. So it's quite simple. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but that's how you can do that. And now, just make sure that's definitely done. Done. Good. Now I can go back to performance. So we can go to back performance. Complete. There we go. Right. Now we're going to leave that alone and I'm going to set up the CDU. So we can put the lights on. Obviously all the lighting is superb. Go FMC. It wants the IRS position, which it can't do right now until I have done this. So we go ident. We're in a 737 pos init page, and we're going to go from KSJC, and that position is very close to our actual last position, which I think is going to have been the correct position for this stand. And then we'll go to route. We'll go from KSJC. Oh, I always forget 7.3 does that. 7.8 doesn't do it because it doesn't actually need that information. So in the last page it doesn't copy across, but there we go. We'll just return to KSJC. Pretty simple. We're going to activate, execute that, and then I won't bother with the route because I'm going to just apply departure. Okay, we've got a slight headwind on the 30 runways today in San Jose, 26 degrees, altimeter 2990. So we will go to depart, 30 right, and I'm going to do the San Jose 3 departure, and that's going to just take us out downwind, and we'll go via Avenel. Execute. Now our ND, we can zoom out, and you'll see, there it is. It doesn't have, look at that. So it's got 90-degree turns for now. Let's see if that updates when I put the weights in, I wonder. So there you go, we have an initial departure from 30 right, route. So now it's time for the performance, and thankfully I can just tap, and if we go to weight and balance, this should match. We've got a 0 fuel weight of 58.3, 58.4, yeah, there it is. So it's copied it straight across. We'll have 3 tons of reserves, cost an X22, cruise out 220, cruise wind, I'll just put in a dummy wind, it's not going to matter for a flight this short, 18,000 transition, and I'm going to execute that, and there it goes. Now it's drawn the correct curved line because now it knows the performance of the airplane and the winds, it can calculate what it might actually fly. How good is that? Just to show you the detail, the robustness of this FMC system. Just going to get some more lights on down here. Where is it? There we go. That's better. Good. Going to leave that alone. Then we've got the N1 limit and the takeoff page. So now we're going to actually run our performance. To do that, we'll go back to our AFB. I'll go to complete, takeoff performance, copy FMC data. It takes the airport, the runway, the dry, the wind, the temperature, and the QNH. How good is that? And let me just set that QNH myself. Should be 2990, so let's copy that again actually. There we go. And we're going to have anti-ice, it's going to be off. Air conditioning, I'm going to leave it on because I'm lazy. No, I'm not, but that's what we do on the 7.8, so it's just something I'm more used to. I would normally just ask for optimum on the 7.8. I'm just going to do a flat 5 takeoff. I think that's pretty standard, and we can even derate it. Look at this: takeoff, takeoff 1, takeoff 2. So just like the 7.8, these are reduced thrust options on top of the assumed temperature. Let's just go takeoff and calculate. It's got the weight there, 66.3. So here we go, 30 flap 5. It's going to be 135, 136, 148, DTO, and cell temp 48. So let's copy that in. So flaps 5, takeoff, we're using takeoff N1, and a CG of 22.1. I wonder if I just press that. It works as well, and it sets the trim 5.2. Look at that, set that automatically. This is what I mean about this airplane just working. 35, 36, 48. It just does these things for you in a way that makes it such a pleasure to sit in. And it doesn't, honestly, if you're coming from the Airbus, you won't have as much trouble as you might imagine getting used to this. V2 of 148, let's put that in here, 148. Even the way these numbers scroll, it just seems to work. I don't know how they've done it, I really don't. We're taking off from runway 30. So I'm just gonna, let me just show you the charts for what we're doing actually. So here's our departure, taking off from runway 30 right, 306, and then right turn back round and take this 121 radial from Oakland all the way down. Pretty straightforward actually, you could even do it without an RNAV. So yeah, let's put in that outbound course of 306 for departure. Oh, 306, heading, I'll do the same. Our departure heading. And altitude is initially 5,000 feet, so we'll put 5,000 feet in the window. Lovely little different clicks and noises between them all. Good. I'm going to press VNAV. No, it's not going to work because I haven't got the flight register on. Let's leave that for a second. the whole FMA section is very different to the 7.8. That's something I need to get used to. I will turn on airports. I'll turn on, won't have pause. We'll have terrain, shall we? Why not? And we'll have traffic on. There we go. Awesome. And look at that. Works straight away. We can obviously center and change our screens around as you would want. Have the FPV down here, no trouble at all. But yeah, that is the FMC setup on this side. We'll just have this one as well. Put it onto the legs page. There it is. So we've got our weights, got the performance, got our flaps. We're going to do 5. We've set the trim, and at the moment the airplane is sort of in a half depower position. So let's get the airplane fully ready to go. So moving up here, we've got the systems. We're going to turn on the yaw damper so the autopilot works. Navigation can all be in normal. Fuel pumps are off for now. We're on the APU for power. Coming back this way, it's all fine. And by the way, you can of course check through the voltages and amps on this screen. Detail, it's all there. Let's get some lights on the panel. Arm the emergency exit lights. Again, you can just click it, armed, and then it closes for you. Love it. No smoking on. Seatbelts on. We're fueled up now. Pressurization 22,000 feet. I think it's taken that from the FMS, and 50 feet landing, so it's done for me in auto position. Let's have the position lights on steady. That's all we want there. Don't need the logo lights in the day. All the other lights can be off. And we have APU bleed on, which we're going to need for engine start. I'll leave the engine bleeds on and the packs off for now. Reset fans on auto. Window heat to come and pitot heats to come. Engine anti-ice off. A whole thing in the 737 MAX about this engine anti-ice switch, how you can't leave it on. They are coming up with a fix for it, but if you leave it on when the engines are not in icing conditions, it can actually overheat them and damage the composite lining apparently. So yeah, a whole other thing to be sorted out there. Right, if we do a recool, it's fine on this side, but you'll see over there it actually has air conditioning. It's complaining about the air conditioning because we haven't got any supply. So what we could do is run the packs, but we won't. Let's make life simple for myself, as it's my first day in the 737 MAX, I think. What I did want to do is just make sure we've set up everything in here. So we're going to go to init ref, done that, done our route. So let's put in my standard test call sign, and I'm hoping that appears over here. There it is on this little aux display. I love this display. It shows you the transponder code, cell call code, your tail number, and your call sign. Incredibly useful. It's very easy to get muddled on call signs because you have so many during the day. I'm going to put the auto brakes to RTO, and I think that's it. So these screens they look very similar to the 7.8 screens, but there's a key difference. This system does not have ICAS. The alerts are just done through this recall panel. This was done to keep it similar to the 737s of previous generations. The more modern system is to have checklists and prioritization of those checklists given to you by the aircraft, so it would come up with the warnings on this screen. This does not have that. It is just through this little recall light. So you see the problem, and then you have to sort of work out what's the most important, what's the root cause of it, and so on. But that's what we have in the MAX. So it is different. Even though it looks like a 7.8, it is not underneath running the same things. It is still just a 737 at heart. And that is the way it is. You can, however, bring up a few things on these screens, such as, oh, look at that. Change some things on that. I haven't seen that before. We've got the recall, we've got the engine secondary displays, and we've got the system, so you can see your flight controls in there. Now, I don't know how you're supposed to see that the APU is running, to be honest, but there we are, or where the APU door message would be, because obviously that is now open. But anyway, we won't get too stuck. There's lots to learn. I've got lots to learn about this airplane. So I think it's time. Let's just get ourselves pushed back. So we're going to pressurize the airplane. So we're going to put the hydraulic switches on. I'm going to also turn on the probe heats and the window heats now, so I don't forget. There we go. And let's get pushed back. So there we go, tug coming over. Oh, absolutely stunning. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, there you go, tug is connecting. And you're going to enjoy the engine starts. It sounds absolutely fantastic. So what I'm going to do is we've pressurized. The trim is set, the transponder, which will be down here, I believe, even on this weather radar. Transponder can go to transponder, and once they're connected, we can push back. I'm going to turn on the fuel pumps as well, ready for engine starts. I'm sure lots of my viewers will know much more about operating a 737, but in the 7.8 we would do fuel pumps, hydraulic pumps, put on the beacon, so let's put the beacon on, which I think is going to be position strobe and steady. Is that the one? No. Okay. It must be anti-collision. we call it the beacon on the 7.8. Yeah, they call it anti-collision, that red one. Pumps, beacon. We've done the recall and the transponder and the trim. Right, let's go. Heart rate released. Off we go. Now starting the engines, again, they've kept it very similar to how you would have it on the 737s of old. So we're just going to push back in a straight line and then get those going. Lights, by the way, really nice. Nice. Look at how that bright red beacon underneath, just like you'd expect. Right, there we go. That is good enough. So we'll stop the pushback there. Set the parking brake. You can change this, by the way, to be simple like this, or to do it properly where you have to have your own brake pedals, but you can then you have to set the toe brakes and then pull that, which is very cool. So that's disconnecting, and we're going to start the engines. So we have enough bleed air pressure. I'm going to set engine to ground. Then we'll see the N2 start spinning. And now I'm going to stop talking. There it goes. Look at that animation. Fantastic. I'm now going to let you listen to the audio. Now, have they nailed those sounds or what? Absolutely fantastic. Engine's running. Let's start the right engine. Yeah, just absolutely brilliant. So impressed with the audios. I must remind you, this isn't a review. I am just giving you a preview, but as you can see, I am excited about what I've been seeing. Put that to run. Get this engine up and running. Hopefully you can hear. See what the flight deck sounds like. There you go. Start valve open. Low oil pressure. It does motor for a while, and you see it gets this motoring warning. It must be to do with the same thing you get on the NEO, A320 NEO, where it motors for a while to sort of stabilise the engine, especially if the engines were warm. Here it goes. Short taxi, we just need to go down behind us over there actually for takeoff. Taking off from, 30 right. Switch closes, you can hear it close, so that sounds amazing. Right, that's done. We're going to go onto the engine generators. APU can go off, so APU bleed off, APU off. So that's the APU gone. We don't need the engine anti-ice. Let's set the flaps to 5. 1, 2, 5. Done the trims, and we can do the flight controls. So if I go to system, and then we can run flight controls. All looks good. Let's take a look at those outside just so you can see the animations. Look at that, even the spoilers, they're not all perfect, slightly different deflections. You can see the APU there on cooldown, still running. Fantastic. Right, let's put the correct lights on and we'll get ourselves taxiing. Oh, you can just hear the APU spooling down there after its cooldown cycle. So we'll go taxi. I'll take the runway turn-offs as well. There we go. Good. Part brake released. Bit of power. It's a nice plane to taxi as well. They've done a good job keeping it keeping it suitably heavy, and it doesn't jump around like it's on rails. It has a bit of momentum to it. Very nice. Bit of thrust needed as we do a tight turn-off stand here. Look at those lights, by the way. Beautifully modelled. Bit more power. Gets us over to the centre line and down to 30 right. So for takeoff, I'm going to have the flight director on. Flight director on. I don't think it wants LNAV yet. Oh, maybe it does. And VNAV, there we go. LNAV, VNAV can be armed. And then when we go to take off, I'm just going to set the thrust levers with the toga button. And that will drive the power up. Super duper. You can hear those fuel pumps running as well. Absolutely awesome. At least I think they're the fuel pumps. They would be on the Airbus. There's so many details on this airplane to show you. You can even open the windows, and again, it just works. You can move this little, I think it's a light around. Yeah, look at that. Everything you want to do, you can do, and you just click on it, and it just happens like you want it to. This is what I mean about just, this is a nice airplane to sort of just use in the simulator. Right, going onto the runway then, let's go landing lights. We don't need the flash setting, we'll go full brightness. Let's take the beacon lights on, get rid of the taxi lights. Good. Oh, you can even hear it grinding. I'm going to turn the noise up once we get onto the runway, because I want to show you the rattles and so on. It does. You can hear the wheels shimmying a little bit and all sorts. It's absolutely awesome. So this is runway 30 right here, which we're now entering. At a bit of a peculiar angle, I confess, but there we go. So, we've got our V2 speed of 135. Rotate speed will be bugged on there. Oh, the sounds. I can't believe the sounds. They've captured that grainy texture of the runway really nicely. Okay. I won't use the HUD for this takeoff, but we have it there as an option. Rotating at 136. Let's turn up the audio. Enjoy. Okay. Park brake released. Spool up the engines to 40%. We can show you the yoke. Why not? Bit of forward pressure on the yoke. Engine stable. Oh, arm the auto throttle helps. Push the toga button. There we go, N1 and toga. Thrust is setting, thrust is setting. I didn't do the D-rate in the end, but there we go. No trouble there, we will manage without. So we've got a full power takeoff here, it's going to be very quick. 80 knots, stick to neutral. Thrust hold. Hear that rattling, hear the nose gear. V1. Rotates. Gentle rotation. That's a little bit fast probably. Positive brakes. Gear up. And there's LNAV. Thrust hold, LNAV, VNAV speed. Just going to turn really down. Now that the 80s has decided to come to life at that exact moment. Okay, we've got ARM, LNAV, VNAV speed. Oh, and there we go. It did go into N1 mode, which is what I would expect it to do. And now it's going to lower the nose and accelerate. Let me just change that frequency. Hopefully that will stop it talking. Or not. There we go. Right, sorry about that. So following the flight directors, nose down. It's gone into N1 mode and climb thrust, which is good. And now we're going to bank round the turn. Got the gear up. Flaps go up. Sorry, flaps to 1. This is a powerful airplane. We're very light to have absolutely no D-rate at all in the engines, but there we go. So we're in climb mode. And there's up, and round the turn we go. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. And it feels lovely to fly. Just going to level off now at 1,000 feet. VNAV out. Lowering the nose. We have to trim ourselves, remember. And now the thrust is going to absolutely fall off as it hits... LNAV, VNAV, it's in N1. MCP speed. Let's put the autopilot. Okay, there we go. Now the thrust will fall off. And it's in command mode, and the airplane can now manage that thrust accordingly. It does have a pitch power couple. Last caution, what's that? Oh, we need to probably need to put in some air conditioning. There we go. I think that's that. After saying I was going to have it on for takeoff. Again, a very different aeroplane to the 787. And that's it, 250 knots, 5,000 feet, we're away. You can, I believe, if I go into here, index perf, N1 limit, climb. Yeah, we can choose the mode we want to use in there. Now this is slightly different to me. I've got MCP speed, LNAV, VNAV out. I would expect just to have LNAV and VNAV showing, but it seems I need speed as well, do I? Yes, otherwise it just arms. So there we go. So I think that's what we want. And then I can speed into V, choose the speed I want. 240 knots if we need. There we go. Let's get rid of those secondary engine displays. I don't need those up. Good. So what else can we do? Let's put a hold in at Mooney. Let's see if I can do that. So hold at Mooney, execute, and there we go. So I'm just demonstrating here. Look, we've got a top of climb marker. We've got holding. It just works. It's really great. Really happy with that. Let's come up to 10,000 feet. So see if the vertical modes work as expected. 10,000, and I think we'll do it in out intervene. There we go. And there'll be enough speed, and we'll do it at 250 knots. I don't actually want to do that hold, so I'm just going to delete that. There we go. Carry on. And thrust comes up. Now, where would we have set the D rate on takeoff out of interest? That must be... Auto brake can go off as well. I didn't realise that would not... On the 7.8 that automatically switches. Yeah, I'm not sure where the D rate is, but it would have been in here, I'm imagining then. Much like it is on the 7.8. I remember on some 7.3s it was up here, but there we go. Good stuff. What a machine, absolutely beautiful. So there we go, up it goes. N1 is what we wanted, the LNAV, VNAV speed. Again, the modes are surprisingly different to the 7.8. It's actually surprising me how different they are. And up we go to 10,000 feet. Of course, there is also level change, the more basic mode. Just choose the speed you want to be at, and up it goes. Good stuff. So what I'm going to do is, while it climbs up there, let's just put in the arrival back into KSJC. We'll do an ILS onto 30 left, and we'll come in via... let's go via... We'll come in via Clyde on this... Sorry, via Bored. Let's do Bored. 30 left, via Bored. Gives us a slightly longer arrival. Execute that. And let's just control that vertical speed by putting it into VS. A bit late now, really. Probably going to level them off shortly. See if it manages this. MTP speed VS. 270 knots. Yeah, it's doing well. There we go. Good. And if I go to plan, zoom in, legs, and then we can step through. You'll see there it is, Bored, then in, and then round onto the ILS. Pretty straightforward. We'll do auto brake 3, we'll put the flap 30 landing into there, and I'm going to tune the ILS, which is going to be a frequency of 110.9. Now, do I need to do that on here still? I think I do. Doesn't like that. ILS 110.9. And we'll do the same on this side. GS ILS 1109. Put that into active. And it's going to be an inbound course of 306, which is what we had. 306, and we'll just set 306 on this side. So I'm just getting it set up, and then we'll do a little bit of in-flight handling. There we go. Right. So back to our map page. Let's disconnect the autopilot. And I'll turn off the flight directors. And now let's have a look at the airplane. Now it handles really nicely. I'll take off the auto throttle as well. Some fun things about the 7.3, it's one of the few airplanes these days that has a pitch power couple. The A320 and the 787 certainly don't have a pitch power couple. So what do I mean by that? Well, those engines are down there beneath the wing, so as you add thrust, they're going to provide a pitch up power couple. So that means it will push the nose up even before the airplane accelerates. So we're flying along level here, and if I reduce power, the nose will drop instantly. So let's reduce power, and let's see what happens. So there we go. Even before the speed reduces, that nose starts to drop. It will do naturally as part of trimming, but yeah, it's more pronounced in the 7.3. I believe the Max has it. The MCAS system may have interfered with it slightly, and there is a speed trimming system in some NGs. So I'm not 100% sure how noticeable it would be for a Max, whether they have more systems in place to hide it. But if we go full power, you can see that the nose rises quickly as that power kicks in. Now, again, it would rise anyway as the speed increases, so I'm not 100% certain whether the Max has some systems to dampen it out or not, but I don't think it's entirely damped out, because they wanted it to have the same airworthiness and same training for pilots. So yeah, it's a lovely plane to roll and bank. It does have fly-by-wire spoilers, but otherwise it's a manual aeroplane, so you can actually I find that it doesn't have limitations. You can roll it right over, and there you go. It won't stop you. It is a raw aeroplane in that sense. You'll notice some cool PFD features though. So as we roll, it gives us big arrows to which way you need to roll back. I actually really like that. That is a genius upset recovery maneuver guide. Look at that. Roll it back, please. Really good. The HUD also has similar things, and they have modeled it correctly in here. So the HUD is a replication of the PFD in its own way, but if we were to go into unusual attitude, you get a slightly different picture on here, which is this symbol we get on the 7.8, but with the improvement of this arrow, which the 7.8 doesn't have. That's really good. So you roll, and then you can bring the nose up. Likewise, it will happily let you over pitch both vertically up and down, so you can pitch up through 30 degrees, something an Airbus will not let you do, and you can pitch down to whatever you want. It is a completely at your fingertips aeroplane, which has its advantages, but also obviously it has its disadvantages as well. So let's get some power on, as we're at our minimum clean speed there. So yeah, it's lovely to fly, it's responsive, it's easy, it feels a reasonable amount of weight. It is a sporty aeroplane, as you would expect for an aeroplane that, like I say, is quite so manual. Look how gorgeous it looks in the simulator. Just no bad angle. Fantastic. Those roll spoilers. Yeah. Oh, it's really nice to fly. I do enjoy it. Sadly, this wing view I don't think is the most flattering of the airplane. I think the airplane looks lovely in every angle, but yeah, I hope they do some more wing views from inside the cabin. There are a couple as we scroll through, but they're at slightly funny angles. By the way, there is a model cabin. There it is. And like I say, these window blinds are in auto, which I absolutely love. Look at that, full with that new sky sort of interior. Very cool. Look at the detail, even on the lavatory. Fantastic. They were not messing around when they put this together, I can tell you that. Right, let's give it a stall. So power off, nose up, keep the nose up, keep the nose up, keep the nose up, keep the nose up, holding it there. Into the warning zone. And there's a stick shaker. Lower the nose. Get rid of the warning signs. Keep lowering the nose. Bringing in some power. Flaps to 1. Don't pull up too quickly. Nice and gentle recovery. You don't want to re-trigger a second stall. There we go. That's all you need to do in an airliner. If you actually get into a proper stall, things get very exciting indeed. So yeah, I'm going to put it through to a stall now just to see how it handles that. But you can see how difficult stalls are in swept-wing jets like this. They're not pleasant. Leaving the power off. Let's full up elevator there. Got the slats out. And it's sort of mashing forwards. And dropping the nose. Not bad. Not too bad. Right, nose down. We've already got flap 1 out, which gets us the slats. Power on. Power on, power on, power on, power on. You don't want to kick too much power on because it can shove the nose up too fast, but there we go. Okay, and recovered. Right, let's get ourselves up to 10,000 feet again. I'm going to put us into heading, autopilot, flight directors, heading cell, flight level change, do 270 knots, bring those flaps in, actually let's do 250 knots. And I'm going to route us towards Boret. Start the arrival. There we go. Order throttle in. 250. 10,000 feet. Actually, we don't need to be 10,000. We can go to 8 for Boret. Good stuff. Just while we head to our start of the approach, let's show you the night lighting. So just bring the night lighting down a bit. There we go. So yeah, cockpit looks gorgeous, obviously. And let's have a look outside. There it is. Those classic modern Boeing lights, so bright, so distinctive from so far away, and you can even see the volumetric lighting in the air behind it. Super, super, super. Yep. Nothing for me to complain about there. Gorgeous. You can do flashing lights if you fancy, which is quite fun. Look at that. If you really want to be seen. Right, autopilot's not happy. What have I done wrong there? Oh, we lost the LNAV mode. LNAV out hold, good. Let's bring it down to 5,200 feet. I'll do 7,000 for now. Right, we're beginning our approach now. So you can see here 5,200 feet or above at Swigs. So I've got 5,200 feet here. LNAV, it does have LNAV armed for some reason, not sure why. Again, there are differences in this this vertical setup. I wonder what would happen if we did LNAV and VNAV at this point. VNAV path, there we go, but it knows it's high. Let's put some speed brake out, help it out. Down we go. After 5,200 is 4,000. In VNAV path, it should account for that, so I'm going to put 4,000 in the window. And you see the green banana, which shows us where we'd expect it to reach the 4,000 feet, which currently is at Clyde, which is good. Now, this is going to get sporty soon because we're doing 250 knots already, so I'm actually going to take over from the airplane, which is quite common in a Boeing, I think, around this point. certainly would be in the 7.8. Before you start putting flaps out, you want to get the speed under your own control. So flaps 1 we can do at 250 knots. We're in speed VS. Let's just wind the VS back a little bit. And what I can do is, there's 1,000 feet to go, wind the speed back a little bit more. Flaps 1, come around the corner now. ISJC 306, 16.8 miles out shows, so we're actually a bit low on profile. So I can bring that vertical speed right back and get the speed under control. 230 knots. We got flaps 1. Flaps 2 is also 250 knots, so we'll go flaps 2. And I bring the speed back to flap 2 speed. There we go. Right, speed brake can go away now. We've got the speed under control. And what you can do is, it's actually quite easy to arm. You just click on it there and it goes speed brake armed, so that's good. Out acquired at 4,000, so now I'm going to lower it down to 2,700, even though it's 3.2 at the next leg, but again the airplane should account for that. I'm going to arm the approach because it won't matter now, and then we can put in the go around altitude of just 1,900 feet once we're on the glide slope. There we go, forward lock glide slope. So just put 1,900 feet in the window, which we can do on an ILS in this airplane. I do know that. Give it both autopilots, so it should hopefully go to dual channel. Oh, I'm not sure. Again, could be something, easily be something I'm doing wrong. Again, I'm not sure why LNAV is armed underneath either. Not sure, but it is flying localizer and the glide slope. Let's go to flaps 5, which is 250 knots as well. Oh, that's pretty good. Flaps 5. Again, if there's any issues with the automatics, that it's probably me doing it wrong, because again, this is very different to the the 787. 787, we have one autopilot button. Well, there's one on each side, but it doesn't matter which one you press. That just puts all the automatics in. It will also land straight off that. You know, very straightforward. So if I'm doing something wrong, I apologise. But also, if there is a bug, then the developers will be working on it before release. This is, like I say, a preview build. But I think it's working out nicely. Crucially, it's in the correct modes. MTP speed for lock, flaps 5, 10 miles out, speed's under control. And there we go. Notice the dual lane exits, because there's so many seats on this airplane now that they have to have two exit routes off the wing. And there is a 737 MAX 8 200 that can take 200 passengers. I think that's the one Ryanair have. There we go. Right, let's get things ready then. So put the gear down, speed brakes are armed, and we'll go flaps 20. Oh no, there's no 20 on this. 15, 25, 30. Okay, let's go 15. There it is. Runway in view. And now let's go 30. Bring the speed back to our final approach speed, which is going to be our 30 VREF plus 5. So that is 142, so 147. Now it's very likely I haven't tuned something right here as well. There we go. Right, anyway, we're not going to do an auto land, so it doesn't matter about the single channel. And I'm not sure. I wonder if maybe the 7.3 can also land single channel. Certainly. Oh, there it is. Land 3. It's all come to life. So it has now got LNAV rollout flare. So maybe it just happens later on this airplane. So it's armed the auto lands. Very cool. We, of course, are not going to auto lands, but we are set up now. So the gear is down. Speed brakes are armed. We're at our landing flap. We're at our landing speed. I think we're in a good place. Got the auto brake set. I'm going to do auto brake 2 actually, it's a long runway. There we go. Right, autopilot off, let's give it a go. Ooh, interesting, it has control wheel steering as well. There we go, right. I'm leaving the auto throttle in. I'm not sure if that's something you would do in the real 7.3. Actually no, it's not something you would do, because of course we're going to have to flare and idle the thrust levers ourselves. Again, something the 7.8 does on its own. So let's just keep flying down. Auto throttle is off, we know. Thank you very much. Looking out to the runway now. Thrust was in a good place before I disconnected, so I don't want to fiddle with it too much. Maybe take a little bit of power off. So we're just getting a little high on the glide slope there. A little bit fast. Quite thermally here today, actually. Nice headwind, though. Inset thresholds are always horrible to land on. Not horrible, but they make a very strange visual picture, as you can see here. Inset threshold I mean by having the actual runway point here, further down the runway. Okay, things pretty stable. It's a very nice airplane to hand fly, I've got to say. Surprisingly stable and enjoyable.
100.
So we're going to flare at 30 and idle.
50, 40, 30,
idle.
20, 10.
Holding it, holding it, holding it. Just touch down. Holding the nose off gently. Reverses out. Auto brake engaging. As you can hear, that nose wheel running down. Fantastic. Let's take over with manual brakes. Awesome. And there we go. Welcome back to San Jose. Bring it to a stop on the runway. Set the brake. So there you have it. That is a preview of the iFly 737 MAX 8 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. As I said at the start of this video, you can be excited for this one. I have had a fantastic time with it, and I can't wait to see what the developer brings to it as it launches. And yeah, just to see it in everyone's hands. It is such an impressive add-on already. This is not a review, it is a preview build. I'm just giving you my initial thoughts. I can't wait for you guys to have a go flying this as well. There'll be more videos, guys, live streams coming on the channel in the future. We need to get this airplane on a live stream so you can all show me how to do all the 737 all the 737 bits. But yeah, really excited to see that. So do please subscribe if you'd like to see more videos. Plenty more airliners videos, guides and live streams coming on the channel, so do please subscribe if you'd like to see those. Otherwise, we'll see you again in another video soon. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.